microphone. Let him tell a story of woe, and then we can vote. On or off of us.
You can see the remains of the winter's avalanches there. A little tunnel through the snow where the creek's now running. Some of the higher parts of Mount Christina are coming into view. We're right up on top of the major fault here. Collision of tectonic floor plate collides with the Australasian plate. Push this mountain. Until the large earthquakes in Samoa, we had the biggest earthquake in the world this year in March, just in the sea level with Te-Ao-Nau 7.8 on the Richter scale. 120 miles deep in the crust, it knocked a few tins off the shelf. At the top end of the is all we got. So metamorphic type of rock surrounds us. semi-enclosed areas, toilets. As you enter onto the boat, they'll offer you your choice of paddle or an oar with which to propel it. This little scattering of cloud, the ridge up there is actually quite open. The thing I would caution you against is walking on the snow on the other side. It tends to collapse a bit. Dangerous. This was a larger one. This one happened in October of 1993. It's twice as big as that one. You can see the mosses and lichens and the regrowth is starting to form there. Early stages of forest succession. Come back in another 150 years, it will be covered in trees again. Road up there. Heavily obliged. Now just a little further along you might have noticed a smaller waterfall over there. That is called the Fairy Frosted. Again, it's called the Bridal Veil Falls. We just got Australian tectonic plates, and as one would expect, we do get quite a bit of earthquake activity in this area. According to geologists, 1,000 earthquakes a month can be recorded here, but easily absorbed for the hard its rock.
我哋就會順住水法喺度落去。衝落去，跟住落到瀑布嗰啲衝落去。呢度玩啫。呢度玩太玩得滯啊！
Well, we are travelling in a place called Milford Sound. We are in fact in a very good example of what is known as a fjord, a glacially formed valley which has at a later date been flooded by water, in this case salt water. This particular region over the last 2 or so million years has been subjected to at least 20 ice ages, and the most recent of these starting around 18,000 years ago, lasting to around 14,000 years ago. Some of these rivers of ice apparently could reach heights of up to 1,400 metres and have affected even the likes of Mitre Peak.
土がありますので、ミルフォードサンド内でも最も浅いところとなっております。
游客有兴趣的话，可以当场帮你甲板挂上塔斯班海的风景，但是大家前往保守，注意安全。而家我哋右手邊經過嘅地方就係待熱點，呢個係客灣北岸出海口嘅標誌。
Coastline, they prevented seafarers from coming in too close to these nasty shores for a closer look. One of these safety-conscious seafarers was none other than James Cook, who passed by this coastline on 2 separate occasions. It wasn't until as late as the early 1800s that a person of European descent actually did come in for a close look and was rather surprised to discover this magnificent inlet, which he named after the Deepwater port near his place of birth. This man was John Grano. He originally came from Pembrokeshire, Wales, and that Deepwater port in question was Milford Haven.
南下には右側がデールポイントと呼ばれ、ミルフォードサンドへの入り口、タスマン海への出口です。
Suitable tools and weapons can be quite soft, but as it was easy to be worked with, and usually use it for their ornaments and jewellery.
After polishing it, it was slightly translucent and a nice light green colour. In fact, these early people were some of the first to use what is now known as the Milford track. Yates Point, not really that interesting. The one back this way slightly is. That's called Strike Point. That's where the null line marking the joint of the Pacific and Australian tectonic plates does indeed join the coast of New Zealand. What a fjord was. Now, just in case anyone is interested, providing we don't have huge crowds in here, we do have an open bridge policy on the Milford Sovereign, but we do ask please that you enter and leave the bridge via the left-hand side. And just please keep to that side as well, thank you. And just please keep the noise down, as of course this is where I actually drive the boat. As we travel along the northern side of Milford Sound, we're now well into what's called the Piopiotahi Marine Reserve. It's one of the early Māori names of the area. It means a single thrush, very, very similar to and marines, I'll start again, marine reserves, of course, are areas which have been set aside to keep everything within as pristine condition as possible. There's quite a few of these around the coast of Fiordland and New Zealand. And this one here takes up most of the northern side of Milford Sound. Well, I've actually been staying by the leaf litter off the forest moors and mountain slopes by the large amounts of rain. Of course, we've got such a high rainfall here, and of course large catchment area, so all this fresh water ends up in the fjords, and often we have layers of fresh water here many metres deep. The stained water, or at least the colour, is known as a tannin and prevents sunlight from penetrating into the waters too deep, which is good news for some very slow growing corals, such as black coral. Large
Buy that sweater.
dropping down from the top of the mountain called the Elephant, and they, along with the watercourse, are known as the Palisades. And those bluffs, along with those, are called Seal Rock. Perhaps it's something to do with all those fairy marine mammals perched on top of it and around it and up in the scrub behind it. These are known for some reason as New Zealand fur seals, although in fact are a type of sea lion and quite common throughout the Southern Hemisphere and Pacific Rim. These ones here are young males which have been invited to lead colonies further north by older males. They form into small groups such as we have here, whiling away the years till they themselves are fully grown. Lying around on the rocks by day, heading out at night to feed on the abundant fish life in our waters. Amazing animals, they can dive to depths of around 230 metres, staying underwater for up to half an hour. So otherwise lead up.
それでは皆様前方のメートルまで潜ることができ、好物であるタコやイカなどを取っています。また一時期毛皮と油が重宝され乱獲されたために絶滅の危機にも瀕しましたが、その後
No, 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 eso no. No, se acerca, no se acerca. Eso de. Đi theo có cái dạng là nó nè phía cái hết một tô de ya, chúng ta bị áo都把mu. Ba cái sẽ được mà. No. Eso de.
Now I'm going to leap out of the water and scurry up the rock surface. Use their flippers as limbs. That's the difference between a true seal and a sea lion. True seals are like the big elephant seals, they're like big slugs. Whereas these guys here, they can almost walk around, they're amazingly agile. The New Zealand coastline. Some good colonies further south to the southeast of the island, and up the west coast and up the east coast. A really good one at a place called Cape Falwyn further up the west coast, and even better, it's got a rather nice cafe across the bay. Dropping out just on 300 metres. Now just along a little further ahead, we have that small waterfall I was talking about earlier on the cruise, dropping down from 155 metres, or about 511 feet. It's called Stirling Falls. This waterfall was named in honour of Commodore F.H. Stirling by Commodore F.H. Stirling when he passed this way on his flagship, the HMS Cleo, way back in 1871. It was actually named earlier to be the place to be, although there's a few bits down there already, which is excellent. Now for the legend to actually work, you're not supposed to wear a raincoat, you need to be in that water for at least a minute, and at the same time really believe in the legend between now and tomorrow morning, otherwise it just doesn't seem to work. But just be aware though, that legend doesn't also work on camera equipment, so just please take care of your cameras when under that waterfall. 是很老高。如果有兴趣的话，可以登上我们的甲板，近距离靠近姐姐最大的瀑布，但请注意手上的相机不要给水淋湿。以前一个毛利的传说，一个女生在见到整个瀑布的水了之后，第二天早上起来发现自己年轻了10歲。如果大家不相信的話，不妨試一試。而家我哋嘅船好快就要靠近西寧瀑布嘅底部，西寧瀑布係我哋峽灣裏面第高嘅永久性輕10歲。如果大家唔相信嘅，不妨試一試。A number of ladies and maidens to take advantage of that free offer and will be pleasantly surprised and engaged in the mirror tomorrow morning. Now while we are on the subject of pleasant surprises, for those of you that got your photographs taken while boarding this afternoon, and for even those of you who didn't, those photographs have been developed and are awaiting inspection at the rear of the bridge deck. That's the level we're steering and driving away from. And you'll find those photographs safely packaged in a folder along with some postcards and a CD-ROM, which has quite a few scenes of Milford Sound upon it, as well as some wildlife. Those CD-ROMs are also available separately, should you wish, and honestly they're rather good, some really good pictures. 各位游客，如果在登上我们的转航之前 ，Major Members 摄影师给我们拍照的话，我们图片全部处理好了，放在我们船2楼的尾部。 At the moment, we're just running around the base of a mountain known as Mount Kimberley or the Lion. In fact, the first mountain I pointed out at the start of the cruise. One of my favourite spots here. Now, 有200到250，现在都是下雨天。喺米飯峽灣啦，其實每一年都有好高嘅降雨量，平均可以達到6米至8米。 即係話平均每一年會有200至250日都係落雨嘅，大概只係有50日可以見到太陽。So Valley They left behind quite a few scour marks on the cliffs. Just along a little further, we have some good examples of these glacial striations. They're all the humps and bumps and undulations running down the cliffside, caused of course by rocks and other debris trapped between the glacial ice. According to geologists, after studying all these and working out the colossal amounts of ice feeding down from the many valleys further back, concluded the most recent glacier passed this way up to 7 metres a day. Wanderer. It's one of our nature cruise boats. It also does an overnight cruise providing backpacker type accommodation.
左手に水平方向にいくつもの傷がつけられていますのはグレイシャルストライエーションと呼ばれる
Used during our winter months as a discovery cruise vessel, and it actually visits some of the southern fjords and goes as far south as Stewart Island. Rather spectacular, Mitre Peak, rising up to its 1,682 metres, and certainly did from the perspective of this rather impressive slab of rock. Now, Mitre Peak was first climbed in the year of 1911 by a very fit young man named Jim Dennistoun. Starting near the entrance to what is known as Sinbad Gully at 7:30 in the morning, he reached the top of that mountain by 1:15 that same afternoon. Amazing feat. Large floating pontoon structure with a viewing chamber attached to its inside end, where people can go down to a depth of around 10 or so metres to view the aquatic life under Milford Sound. Now beyond that we have Harrison Cove, which along with Harrison Valley behind were both carved out by a smaller tributary glacier. And they left behind a hanging valley which was deep enough to be partially flooded as the sea level rose, and now the only place within Milford Sound suitable to be used as an anchorage. Before I hand over the microphone, I'll point out, or at least try and point out, the mountain at the head of Harrison Valley, which rises up to 2,014 metres and known locally as Mount Pembroke. Perched on top of the mountain, what looks like snow as in fact is, but it's actually covering the remains of the Pembroke Glacier.
この辺りはハリソンの入り江です。今左手に小さな建物をご覧いただけていますのは水中観測所です。左手に氷河と万年雪といただくマウントペンブロークをご覧いただけています。このミルフォードサンド内でご覧いただける山の中では最も高く標高2の雪解け水がハリソン川を作り、こちらまで流れ込んでいます。
这个是我们沙湾这里一个天然的避风港。你现在船来到沙湾之后，它会在这里休息和停留。而且我们左手边看到是帕布罗克山，帕布罗克山是在我们沙湾之内可以看到最高的山，它2014米高。而我哋經過嘅地方叫哈利森灣，哈利森灣係我哋峽灣裏面一個天然嘅避風港，以前嘅船嚟到峽灣坐到嗰度休息同埋。An average rainfall between 6 and 7 metres every year. 1988 saw the yearly rainfall record established, getting up to just on 9.2 metres for the year, and December the 11th that same year the daily rainfall record itself was established. It was 521.2 millimetres. Not the wettest place around, but still rather damp nonetheless. We have over 200 days of rain here in some form or another. In Milford Sound, the heaviest of these seem to occur during our spring, so you guys are rather lucky today. It's actually rather pleasant. After we become the Duke of Connaught. Yarn Valley itself is rather well known, as it's also where the famous Milford Track comes to an end, just up around the corner at a place called Sandside Point. Being no road access up to either end of the track, the only way to get there is by boat. pleased to have the waterfall that we passed by. We're heading out of the harbour, dropping down from 160 metres. That is the Bowen Falls, the largest of the 6 permanent waterfalls here in Milford South, named after the wife of a former Governor-General of New Zealand. As we draw near the Bowen Falls, unfortunately the conclusion of our journey also draws near as well. So on behalf 大家来到北美的小湾，我代表我们的公司 Real Journey 向大家表示感谢。最後呢，就祝大家旅途愉快，再見。因為所見到嘅波蘭瀑布嘅客灣裏面見到最高嘅永久性瀑布係160米高。我哋嘅船好快開入去港口，將結束今日嘅行程。喺大家離開之前，請你哋檢查一下隨身嘅行李，唔好遺放喺隻船度。多謝大家嚟到墨爾福特客灣，我代表我哋嘅公司 Real Journey 向大家表示感謝，祝大家喺紐西蘭旅途愉快，再見。
それでは前方には再び高さ160メートルモーウェイの滝をご覧いただけています。ここを訪れた初期の日本がお降りになる際はお忘れ物をなさいませんよう、また足元にお気をつけて1階中央の出口よりお降りくださいませ。
It's right on it.
Oh, okay.
Really only came here with us because I accidentally put that out with us.
I guess there are people there in the basement.
Just come with us. He's always left really early. Like he just leaves.
Like it's some weird work order number, and then somebody.
Bring out a visitation centre. If you look down this road to the right, you will see the entranceway to the government gardens. Now you can also get there by walking around the lakefront, and you can get to the government gardens by walking along this road to the right. This is a relatively new road that the council has put in, and it goes around in like a hockey stick shape, and it comes out in the gardens. If you just wanted to go straight to the Polynesian pools, it's a sort of a longer way to go. So the best way is to walk up to Tanakai Street and then turn left at Arawa, 2 blocks at Arawa Street.
I know Matt's going to be in the lobby at 2:30 for his little river rafting trip, so you can catch him there.
Now the black swans originated from Western Australia. They live here all the year round, and there should be ducks as well,
Or you can look at
mallard ducks.
him somehow, you know.
Duck shooting season is from the
It's one of the most beautiful buildings in the area. A photograph building it is. Walking in the rain, happy as a fool. I'm happy again. Okay. Oh, we got are we recording? Okay, come on back, Michelle. So, now which building is the museum? One over here?
That way.
Okay.
Right. Maybe we'll be able to do that. Maybe we can do tomorrow.
Oh, degrees, it says.
I'll take a look at it.
We did a similar one in Australia from Sydney to Hong Kong.
Tane, you gotta be joking. It's not Tane. Take a look in here. Go on.
This is where all this hot stuff comes from. See? From a huge reservoir of molten rock, not that far beneath our feet. Tane, forget it. Two great slabs of the Earth's crust, the Pacific and the Indo-Australian coast collide at New Zealand. The Pacific plate gets pushed under, 80 kilometers beneath our feet. The friction melts the rock and sends it rising closer to the surface, here at Rotorua. At least that's what the scientists say. My ancestors had a simpler explanation. Underneath us, they said, lay a great monster. A spirit of fire.
Where did the spirit come from? From the same place as my ancestors. Hawaii. Far to the north.
The navigator of Te Aroha, the canoe on which my ancestors came to Aotearoa, was a great priest, a tohunga, called Ngā Toroira. When he arrived, Ngā Toroira began to explore the North Island. At Tarawera, he fought an evil spirit, Tama Ohoi. Come on, that way. Harai. His magic was stronger, and he locked Tama Ohoi up inside the mountain. But his adventures nearly came to an end on the bigger mountains at the heart of the North Island. Caught in a sudden snowstorm, he called to his sisters in faraway Hawaii to help. They heard his prayer and came as spirits of fire under the sea, which saved Ngā Toroira by bringing the wonders that nature or Ngā Toroira had left us. And the most famous of these were the pink and white terraces.
They're so warm. And once one of them. Oh, I'm good about that.
As time went on and more tourists came, hotels sprang up in the tiny village of Te Wairoa.
Joseph McRae? What's John? Well, how do you do, sir? Afternoon.
Mr. Bainbridge, is it?
Yes, I got your letter.
Ah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Come inside. I'm here, you detective. Come this way, gentlemen.
We'd always lived in a world without money, but it didn't take us long to get used to it.
Notava te whenua te whaia, kai atawa te tikanga. Ana ka haere mai e te hiwaho, e utu anō pāranei te mea kotahi o rata.
What is it?
You have to pay to go down to the lake.
A bit too much.
The villages closest to the terraces suddenly became rich.